I want to talk to you about vision. I don't mean vision, the kind of vision that helps you see, but I mean having a vision, which is, in short, a way to see something that can exist in the world that doesn't exist now. Having a vision is about having insight or observations or passion for something that you believe can change things for the better. Now, it may not make any sense to anybody, and it may not make sense with anything that exists currently. It wasn't so long ago that there was a fellow in California who thought, you know what? Why should only big corporations have computers that are the size of houses? Everybody ought to have a computer. They ought to be able to have one in their hand, in fact, which sounded nutty at the time because why would anybody walking around need a computer in their hand? But of course, now we know why, and I don't know that any of us would want to live without it. It wasn't so long ago that somebody said, why don't girls get educated? And took that on as every culture ought to offer girls the same opportunity that it offers boys. That was a vision that didn't make sense and still doesn't make sense everywhere around the world. But it doesn't mean that it isn't a worthy thing to strive for. So a vision is a view into a possible reality that may or may not feel consonant with what currently exists. So all of us have the ability to develop a vision. Now, how? It's about your observation and your experience and your passion for something and your caring for something. A vision can come out of a lot of places. It can come out of love. I love small children, and I want to make sure that every small child always has somebody to play with when they want to play. That's an example. It could come out of righteous anger. I don't think it's okay that people from different places get treated differently. All of us should have the ability to have justice in our lives and equal opportunity in our lives. It could come out of optimism. There's a small thing that I notice that I think even a small change might make a big difference. Who knows what it could be? You do. And each of you has the power to make the world a better place. Now, that feels a little big, it might feel a little unreachable, and sometimes it takes a little bit of work, like, developing any skill, like learning how to play a new sport. Developing a vision is the same thing. It takes a little bit of practice, and sometimes it's good just to start a little small. So, as you look around in your community, as you think about your own life and your own experience, what might make a good vision? You have the ability to change things. The Dalai Lama said, if you think that an individual is too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Each of us has the ability to make noise and sometimes to be annoying in the best kind of way, to get into what somebody once called good trouble. And a vision upends the status quo a little bit. So it can seem not only crazy, but also a little counterproductive sometimes. That's okay. It's all about starting. It's all about developing a notion of how things can be better and what opportunity you see for change that's productive around you. So as you think about a vision, you think, okay, how do I begin to talk about it, or why do I want to talk about it if I don't have the ability to talk about it in a complete, coherent way? That's okay, it doesn't matter. Once you start talking about a vision, it begins to take root. If, in fact, it's something other people will share. And chances are, you're not the only person who's had an experience who thinks, you know what, I'm not so crazy about the way this happens. I bet we could do better. You're going to find those people when you begin to start talking about things. You will find that the energy that you have and the passion that you have is probably going to be matched by other people who will bring their passion to the vision as well. Now, that brings up an important point. Once a vision is out in the world, it starts to be something that is shared. It isn't just about you and your notion of it, which is a sort of an interesting thing because you think, well, I have this vision, I created it, but all of a sudden, it's something else. A vision, when it's powerful, when it's out in the world, becomes sort of the collective property of the people around you and the people that you share the planet with. And that's a good thing. Because although your own contribution may diminish over time, the power and the commitment that you have will get multiplied and change will accelerate, which is really the goal. So when you develop a vision, know that talking about it with people will be useful. You'll begin the process essentially of editing and understanding how to talk about it in a way. But it's a very interesting thing, like a lot of acts of creation. Something, you create something, it comes into being, and then as you send it into the world, it becomes its own thing. So you may need to change the direction as you talk to people and they say, I don't really understand what you're talking about. Sometimes it's about changing language. Sometimes it's about saying, you know what, I've sort of outgrown that, or that felt very important to me at the time, but now I see a bigger opportunity that I wasn't aware of when I started down this path. All of those things are okay because it's about growth and development. And a vision is supposed to grow from possibility to reality, fundamentally. So this all may sound a little bit abstract because you want to start somewhere, whether or not it's, all right, wherever I travel around the world, I never want to see any trash on the ground. Or I'd like to believe that all trash can be turned into clothing. Whatever it is. So you may ask, all right, how do I start? That's what we're going to do right now.